Hey guys, welcome back to On the Ball. So before I get to my Super Bowl video, I'm going to start off on obviously the sad note in sports. Obviously, Kobe Bryant, along with his 13-year-old daughter Gigi, and 7 others were killed in a helicopter crash this past Sunday. Just a terrible tragedy for especially those 7 people, and obviously the basketball legend for the Lakers, who wore number 8 and 24 during his career, and his young daughter. Devastation for the entire family and the entire sports world, everyone who knew him and everyone who didn't know him. He had an impact on so many people. I saw the back half of his career, especially when he wore 24, because I started fully focusing on basketball around 2010. He just had an impact on so many people and an entire generation, my generation, where when we were younger and would throw paper balls in a trash can, we'd all yell Kobe when we did it. And I think the younger kids now probably yell Curry, but just a tragedy for the sports world. And the Super Bowl, Roger Goodell announced that they were going to honor him and the Pro Football Hall of Famer Chris Dolman, who also passed away at 58 the other day. They're going to honor them both at the Super Bowl, which I think is a great gesture by the league, especially since Kobe touched so many people on and off the court. All right, now into the Super Bowl portion of my video. I'm going to start off with my top 5 headlines of the Super Bowl before I go over my actual predictions for the game. So I'm going to go backwards from 5 to 1 on the most important headlines coming in to Super Bowl 54. Number 5, I got Richard Sherman. Recently he's been called out by Darrelle Revis of not being an actual man-to-man corner, is just playing in zone. He's been to 2 Super Bowls before with Seattle and the Legion and Boom. He had an ACL tear in 2017, was cut by Seattle in 2018, and then the next day signed a deal with the 49ers for 3 years and $39 million, which was mostly based on all incentives. So pretty much he was betting on himself. So I think he's going to have a tough matchup with most likely Tyreek Hill or any of those Kansas City wide receivers. Is going to have a tough matchup. So that's a really intriguing headline for me. So I have that at number 5. I would have had this a little higher, but I don't feel as strong about it as I did before. So Pat Mahomes, he's going to be the new face of this league, and I think he can take it, obviously, with winning the Super Bowl. But I think even if he doesn't win it, I think he's still eventually going to become the face of the league if he's not already. But if he doesn't win it this game, say Lamar Jackson gets better and he gets to the Super Bowl, or Carson Wentz, you still got Aaron Rodgers in this league. Deshaun Watson's been a great talent so far. So there's so many young quarterbacks, and even some of the veteran ones like Aaron Rodgers, like I just said, that can still become the face of the league to me. If Pat Mahomes doesn't win the Super Bowl, I don't believe that will happen. But Pat Mahomes, he has so much talent, obviously, and I think he's probably one of the most talented quarterbacks I've ever seen. So a win in the Super Bowl would solidify that he's going to be the face of the league for the next 10, 15 years to come. All right, at number 3, I have the 49ers pass rush defense. They have 4 guys with 6.5 sacks or more, which is extremely good. They obviously only need to rush 4 to get to your quarterback, so I think that's going to be key in this game. Even if they do rush 4 guys, which they will most of the game, I believe, to get Pat Mahomes to feel uncomfortable, he can still make plays outside the pocket. As we've seen, he's one of the best at doing that. So whether or not the 49ers pass rush defense will be able to affect Pat Mahomes and his throwing ability remains to be seen. I think that's one of the biggest headlines coming into this game. My number 2, Kyle Shanahan, the coach of the 49ers. Obviously, the only time he's been here before was the New England Super Bowl a couple years back when he had a 28-3 lead, and we know how that ended up. New England eventually came back and won that game in overtime. Kyle Shanahan will be able to show what he's learned over these past few years, and especially I think a lot of his play calling comes from his father, Mike. Led the Denver Broncos to 2 Super Bowls with John Elway as the quarterback, mainly because of their running game, rushing attack, and their elite defense. So which San Francisco is really good at both. So it's going to be interesting to see how Shanahan's play calling has evolved since that Super Bowl a couple years ago. And my number 1 headline for Super Bowl 54, Andy Reid. This is it. He made it to 1 Super Bowl in 2005 with my Philadelphia Eagles. Can he finally get it? Among current coaches in the NFL, he's second in wins, only behind Bill Belichick, and the other 6 behind him, plus Belichick, all have Super Bowl victories. So, this may be make or break for his Hall of Fame status. I believe he's a Hall of Fame coach in general, but some people may not because he doesn't have the Super Bowl ring yet. So this is going to be obviously his make or break game. If he wins the Super Bowl, I think it's an easy lock for him in the Hall of Fame. If not, who knows? Because you know, he's been such a good coach all of these years, but he just hasn't gotten over that hump. So we'll see if he can do that on Sunday night. As for the actual Super Bowl, obviously we have the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs. I think for the 49ers, if this game becomes a shootout, I think they're going to have a tough time, especially Jimmy Garoppolo matching up with Pat Mahomes, not because of Jimmy Garoppolo's lack of talent, just because of Pat Mahomes' amount of talent that he has. He's just, and the weapons that he has. The 49ers need to get their run game going early. I think if they get up a couple of scores, it's going to be harder for Kansas City to come back than when they played Houston and Tennessee when they got down in previous weeks, because San Francisco has been able to hold leads most of this entire year. But they can't make Jimmy Garoppolo throw 30, 35 times. I think that's recipe for disaster. I think this game is going to be won by Kansas City's run defense against San Francisco's run game and offensive line. Kansas City's run defense held Derrick Henry to under 70 yards in the AFC Championship game. I think that's going to be a huge part of who wins this game, because if San Francisco can run the ball down their throat all game, it may be game over for Kansas City. But if they can hold Raheem Mostert and whoever is going to be the running backs, maybe Tevin Coleman, if they can hold them to under 100 yards or somewhere around that number, I think they have a really good chance of winning this game. Obviously, San Francisco hasn't faced wide receivers like this all year. Kansas City has so much speed on the outside and versatility with Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, the list goes on and on. If Mahomes gets outside the pocket, it may be trouble for San Francisco, because he can run the ball and he can throw the ball in the run, because like I just said, he has some of the fastest wide receivers in the entire league. So as for my actual prediction, if the 49ers were playing any other team except the Kansas City Chiefs, I think they would be Super Bowl champions, but I think the Chiefs are just too explosive, and in the end, I trust Andy Reid's play calling. I think they're going to be too much for San Francisco's secondary. Nothing against Richard Sherman, he's a Hall of Fame caliber cornerback. I think they just have too much on offense. I'm going to take the Chiefs to win Super Bowl 54 by a final score of 35-28. You know, I may have a little bias towards Andy Reid because I want him to win his first Super Bowl, but I really truly believe that Pat Mahomes will be able to get this done. I think he's, like I said, he's the best quarterback talent I've seen probably since Aaron Rodgers, maybe even better than him. I can't wait for the Super Bowl. I'm super excited. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to On The Ball for more content. I appreciate all the likes, comments, and views that you guys give me. See you guys on the next video. Peace.